I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me.
Ron here from The Truth About Addiction. Today's episode is different. It's not planned, it's not polished, and it's an emergency episode because a brother of mine and a beautiful human being named Lenny is going through something nobody should have to face alone. For over a decade, Lenny has battled severe depression, addiction, and more hospital admissions than most people could imagine. And just when life was starting to turn its corner for him, he was hit with another blow. Stage 3, squamous cell carcinoma. I don't know if I've said that correctly, but if anybody wants to look it up, they can look it up, you know. Today, Lenny is here with whatever strength he has to say hello and share a piece of his story. And his wife, Gail, and their son are walking this road right alongside him, carrying their own emotional and financial weight. So this episode is part conversation, part call to action. At the end, we'll be sharing a way you can help his family. But for now, please just listen. Lenny, brother, thank you for being here today. And Gail and Easton and Scotty, how are you feeling right now, brother, right at this moment, mate?
Tired. You kind of think you get to the end of the treatment and things will start getting better, but it kind of gets a bit tougher for a few weeks. They tell me. Tired, a little bit over it, but still pretty hopeful. So.
Okay, for people who don't know your story, can you share a bit about what the last decade has looked like for you, mate, with your battle of depression, addiction, and hospital stays and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. I had always been a drinker as such, but never really, it was occasional. And for whatever reason, around that sort of 10-year mark, the alcohol over, I suppose. So the control became less and less. I was still working, through this whole time I've worked, but I was working pretty hard. So essentially, my ex-wife and I from New Zealand relocated over here to Australia, and we separated maybe a year after we'd been here. So I had the kids, so 3 kids at home with me, so I was working full time, had the 3 kids, and and that along with the divorce, I think kind of pushed things along a bit. And I think it was about that time, I think, as well, that the depression, which hadn't been part of my history or journey up until that point, started to kick in. So I don't know, chicken or the egg, alcohol or the depression, one or the other. So I went through a period of, I suppose living a single man's life with the kids at home, but, enjoying that period of time, I thought. That period of excess drinking and mental health spiraled pretty quickly. So essentially, the last 10 years has been a roundabout or revolving door of institutions, hospitals, rehabs, and treatment. So just to give a sort of a brief background of that treatment, I had 20 sessions of ECT, which is where they literally shock your brain, like in the movies, So they knock you out, they shock your brain, and that's all designed around improving your depression. I think I've had maybe 10 or a dozen hospital admissions for depression. So a couple of those involuntary, so I was forced, and then the balance voluntary, where I presented in not a good state, or Gail had taken me to the ED, and in amongst that I had a couple of stints in rehab as well, and then you mix into that the off-site programs, and so I went through a period of I'll try anything, so whether it was psychiatrist, psychologist, I did all the medication, I watched the movie 4 Good Days, so I did naltrexone, So essentially I tried everything, and it wasn't until I went into a rehab facility. So one of my psychologists recommended going into a rehab, and he and that rehab had a 12-step program attached to it, and that's where I was introduced to that option of recovery.
Yeah, beautiful.
So it's been tumultuous. It's been tough on, everyone says, yes, it must be tough on you, but there's a number of other people around me that it's a lot tougher for, So just in terms of, I was reflecting the other day, I've got 6 grandchildren and another, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Another, too late now, another on the way. But I've missed the birth of just about all of those because I've been either in a rehab or an institution. I'm blacklisted from just about every institution that I've been in now because I've done my best to get kicked out. I missed my son's wedding. I actually think I've only done one Christmas at home in the last 5 years, 6 years, where I've been at home with the family. The others have all been locked or institutionalised. Just all of those important milestones I've had to look at from afar, from a photograph or a picture. My youngest daughter's 15. I think I've been to one graduation in that period of time. And Gail's probably been a single mum for 10 years with just me floating around on the outside. So it's been a rough 10 years, and the light that was at the end of the tunnel was really just starting to poke through. Kicking teeth again. So.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. I know you just started turning the corner when you got this diagnosis, and another, as you said, it kicked you in the teeth. I believe sometimes kicking the teeth is not really kicking the teeth; it's a kick in the ass.
Yeah.
And I hope that that's what it is for you. And
Well, it is interesting, Ron, because that's how it feels. I think my modus operandi over the last 10 years is, I'd have had 10 plans now about what's next and how I'm going to fix this and how I'm going to do this, and and I would have had a number of resentments around who caused this and how that happened and who's to blame, and for whatever reason, it's been it's been quite the opposite.
Yeah. Well, Lenny, I went through it last couple of years. Scott, besides, has gone through it, mate. And I honestly believe you'll get through it too. We've all had different cancers, but they're all the same deal, like the emotional effect that affects us is our family. And, you touched on that. It's our children, our wives, our grandchildren, our friends, we soldier on, but deep down inside we have so much regret and shame and remorse of what we could have, should have done. When the reality is, mate, it's just for the day. You're doing perfect, mate. I'm so blessed to have you here today. I really mean that. I mean that sincerely. You show me that this program works. You show me that your program's working. You show me that you're a fighter, What's been the hardest part for you, the physical or the emotional?
Actually, it's been the physical, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling emotionally quite strong when I got the diagnosis.
Yeah.
And that strength is multiplied. But to be honest, I think regardless of all the good advice I got, I was I'll work through this. I'll keep going to work. I'll be fine. And it's not going to beat me. But it's knocked me around a bit, to be honest, physically. Now, from an emotional perspective, it kind of felt like I think, like you said, a kick in the ass. It kind of, you feel like there's, you've hit your rock bottom. There's no more yets for me. Then I got when I was diagnosed and started going to the specialist, the oncologist, and the radiation oncologist, the medical oncologist, and they, particularly the radiation oncologist, would kind of, this is life changing. This is, it's going to be really tough. And I was able to sit there and say, yep, I understand that, but I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I've got. There's nothing I can do now. There's nothing I can do about the past, and all I can do is follow the good advice and do the best I can. And they were kind of, geez, I wish everybody came in here thinking like that.
I've had exactly the same words said to me, Len. Exactly the same words that the oncologist say to me. I wish everyone had your attitude, and it's because of our program. It really is,
So but yeah, I think you kind of find out your physical limitations, and that can be a bit tough. I visited my ward last night, and they had dirt on their boots from someone's farm. And left dirt on the floor in the ward, and so I went and saw the nurse and I said, can I borrow a broom and a brush and shovel? I just want to clean up all that dirt and mud. And she said, no, look, you can't do that. Just leave it. It'll be fine. We'll get the cleaner. And so I'm sitting there. Maybe the others a bit of my impatience. And anyway, the cleaner was for 15 minutes or so I went and grabbed a couple of towels and on the floor and I walked off. And she walked past and said, what are you doing? Get your ass back in the bed. And, although I have to say the cleaner showed up very quickly after that.
Yeah, I love it.
It's the physical limitation of, it'll be all right. I'll just jump on and grab it.
We forget that we're human beings first, But you're so supported, mate. I've got Gail and Easton sitting beside you and Scotty, and I'm sure your daughter Riley's, there, with you, mate, and you've got lots of people supporting you. And that's testimony to your character. I came to Tassie, you picked me up, before we knew you were sick, and, mate, you were just a good human being, you're just a good person. And that's all that matters in this day and age, honestly. We have to be a good human being. And Gail, how are you, doll? Yeah.
It's difficult to watch, and you wish you could do more to make things better, but you just can't. But yeah, otherwise, just taking every day as it comes and looking forward to the improvement for Leonard's sake as well.
Yeah, it'll come. Easton, how are you, buddy?
Been better. It's obviously difficult. I think before I came down here, just actually seeing Dad on the call with Scott, it was pretty confronting just to see how much weight he'd lost and pretty much like a skeleton version of who he was. Even him getting out the shower just the other day, he was panting like he'd been for a run.
Yeah, we bounce back, mate. We do bounce back. I had an appointment this morning with the oncologist, and she sort of said to me, she got up to me and she goes, your expectations of where you should be are so unrealistic, it's actually embarrassing. And I was like, okay. Because I think I should be running marathons and, I'm only 8 months out of radiation, and I think I should be better, like, oh, no, I'm good to go. And I've worked the whole time, same as you, Len. And it got, it does get difficult. Scotty, I'm sure you've got something to say.
No.
I've got the timer out.
I'm struggling. I'm full of emotion. I guess, we do have to work it on a space program, and I've been with this bloke for a good while now, and to be able to see him finally concede to his innermost being, his innermost soul, that he couldn't deal with that addiction devil on his own, and to see him turn that corner from the dark into the light, and then for this dance on a different type of disease to scruff hold of him and test him. Very emotional. Haven't really processed it. Been just trying to keep myself out of self through it, and just in awe, to be honest. Just in awe of how he's handling himself. And I guess also too, Ron, it takes me back, to some stuff that I went through historically. Like I went and sat with him one day in the Holman Clinic, just up the corridor here, and kind of brought back a lot of emotions and memories for me. And I try and today still put on the chameleon bluff and bullshit, that I'm the sledgehammer and that, I can deal with everything. But it's okay to feel the way I'm feeling right now. It's okay. It's just a feeling. This too shall pass. And I know that he's rock solid, and I know that there's a group of people that will crawl across broken glass to do what needs to be done. Because he's a genuine human being, a really good bloke. I guess it's really tough. He's got, he's been living in 10, 11 and 12, and that's all can be done. But yeah, to answer it directly, Ronnie, I'm full of emotion, tears, and I guess coming here today and going up into his ward and seeing him, and then the only place that was available today to do this was, down here in the chapel, and walking in here and then seeing him walking in, I'm full of emotion. But it's a privilege to be sitting on this pew with his family. And I can't believe I haven't taken the piss out of him yet, but I just don't feel as if I will at some stage. But yeah, I'm just full of emotion. Love him to death, and there's nothing I would do for him and his family.
Beautiful, mate. Lenny, is there a message you want to share with anyone listening who might also be in a dark place right now with addiction, depression, illness, or all the above?
Yeah, there is. I think the ability to have tools to fall back on. Some of those might be very simple, and some of those might be require help. But I can't do this on my own, whether it's whether it's the addiction or the depression, the physical stuff. And nobody needs to, and the help is there, and it's I don't know the terminology, but whether it's a business type terminology, but there's this cross-functional relationships and all of those things, that apply. And you asked about emotion earlier, and I don't know if it's the chemicals or the lack of sleep or whatever, but my emotional regulation's been really tough. Those emotions are very close to the surface, and the reactions to those emotions are tough to control, or tough to recognise. Maybe it's a better word than control. And I think, I have found myself being short or curt or, not understanding, or even, biting back at people. I think I had a crack at Scotty. But because of 10, the minute I do recognise those things, I'm able to come back and say, and it might be as simple as, not quite as simple. I've snapped at my daughter a number of times because, this is all about me, Ron. I'm the one that's sick. I'm the one that's not well. And but I've been able to recognise that and apologise and or move forward. So, I think, again, it seems like one of our program's staples or simple concepts, but it really is one day at a time. You can't control the past and you can't control the future. But you can do a damn good job of what's in front of you right now. And I think that's quite important. And I think understanding the impact on people around you, it has been interesting. I know there's discussion in our literature around that uses cancer as an example. People treat you differently if you've got cancer as if you've got a disease of addiction, and it's true. It's true. I've got from the cancer perspective, I've got family members that are scared, and they're just ignoring it. And I've got people that are jumping out of their skin to help. I've got people that feel lost, and it really is interesting how that looks to those people. And the other thing, I think, purely from a medical perspective for the cancer as such, I've had a couple of hiccups in my treatment journey. So a couple of botched surgeries, or a botched surgery, and a couple of other things that haven't worked as they should. But in general, I'm so grateful for the professionals, the health people in the system, and I don't know. It just feels like there's less of a resistance to all types of help from that medical perspective. Whether it's considered alternative or whether it's considered, this is the norm, this is what we do. But I think there's a genuine, across the board, feeling of whatever works for you, and whether that's the same as our program in terms of taking from what works for me. I've got some daily staple routines, but what works for me. I had trouble, I haven't slept for 7 weeks now. So what I mean by that is I think I got 3 hours last night, and that's the most I've had in 7 weeks. I've been able to lie on my back while I'm awake and, practice my meditation, getting those thoughts moving on, and, bringing myself back to now, and thinking about how grateful I am for some of the really basic stuff. It's my birthday coming up. Gail said, "What do you want for your birthday?" I said, an orange.
Yeah.
Because I can taste it. If I can taste it, I'll be the happiest man in the world.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Lenny, thank you. Thank you for showing up today with a little bit of strength you had and for sharing your heart with us. You are loved, brother, more than you know. To everyone listening, this is where I'm asking you from the bottom of my heart to step up. Lenny, Gail, and their 2 children are facing emotional and financial hardship with Lenny's fight for his life. Medical costs, time off work, the weight of just getting through each day is enormous. If you've been moved by Lenny's story, please head to the link in the description and donate whatever you can. No amount is too small. Even sharing this episode with one another could change everything for this family. And Lenny, mate, we're with you every step of the way, so please keep fighting. And, mate, I look forward to seeing you very soon. Fantastic. Thank you,
I
guys.
solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.